What up, guys? I wanted to share the story of my summer trip to Europe, where I backpacked from London to Constantinople and back over the course of about 77 days. Highlights of the trip were landing in London, meeting my boy Jonathan in Brussels, Belgium, taking mushrooms in Amsterdam, where I encountered a bridge troll. There was this one guy who just had awful vibes. He might have been homeless, but he was just cursing to himself. After he passed me by, I kind of accidentally hit him like with one of these. Then he started cussing me out and following me across the bridge. And this is right after I just had one of my most insanely psychedelic experiences, where all of my thoughts were being framed in terms of you. They were in the second person, not the first person. Like, it was impossible for me to have the thoughts come from me in the first place, to be in the first person mode. And it's like all my thoughts and all my psychic activity wasn't mine. It was like someone else's being, and it was directed at me. I was just some observer of this Owen phenomenology. Something like ego death, I guess. And like I had to be brought back online by the anima. It was crazy. And like I had just come back online, got off from the bench I was laying on, started crossing this bridge, and then I thought I was gonna have to square up with this guy. But eventually I tried to communicate to him, but I couldn't find the word and I was stumbling. This guy didn't speak English, and then he started making fun of me because I didn't speak his language. And then finally I found the word. I said, truffles, magic mushrooms. I am tripping, dog. And his whole demeanor changed. It was as if I just exorcised the demon that was in him. And then he was talking to me like we were friends. He complimented my boots. Weird. Then we went to Hamburg, Germany. Went up this super tall steeple. Realized I was afraid of heights. Got a sick ass flick though. Then we went to the grave of Friedrich Nietzsche, where we again took truffles. And I just spent the day with him, praying for him, thanking him, catching him up on everything that's gone down, just paying my respects, you know. There was this really cool museum because he's buried right by his childhood home, right on the property of the church that his father was a priest at. The next day, I went to Wittenberg, Germany, where Martin Luther had nailed his 95 Theses to, that specific church I visited. I went to Berlin, saw the Berlin Wall. I went mountain climbing by the Czechia border with Germany. Met my boy Ryan in Prague. What's up, dude? Then I went to Hallstatt, saw some of the most beautiful scenery that I've ever seen in my entire life. Thank you, Ryan. Went to Romania, met my boy Patrick. Patrick was an American studying abroad, studying mathematics. I really hoped I helped to enlighten him to understand that there's more to the world than mechanics and that reality is in fact organic. There was this interesting sort of clumsy baptism that he went through after we visited one of the churches there. He fell into a river. Then I met this old head named Han, and this man had some stories to tell. He had been to every single country in the world. He says that his least favorite was Israel. Then 4th of July came up, and I went to the capital of Romania, Bucharest, where I met my boy Simon. Epic guy. Spent the whole day together. There was this funny moment at the start of that day where I went to shower and then I went back to my room. All my stuff was gone. I thought all my stuff had been stolen. I'm running up and down the stairs for a full 30 minutes asking if anybody saw anyone go into the room. Oh my God, I was freaking out. And all my clothes could have been gone. All my money could have been gone. My phone could have been gone. I wouldn't have cared. What I was most worried about was my journal. I've been with my journal for years. I put so much love and care into that thing. It's irreplaceable. All right, if everything else was gone, I would have been okay. But it turned out I just went back to the wrong room. All my stuff was right where I left it. Big oopsie daisies. Got sparked up by some gypsies that night. It was a happy 4th of July. Then went to Bulgaria. Bulgaria whack. People are rude. Ethnicity is a myth. Slavic, Hellenic, Germanic, it's all bullshit. The only two cultures are urban and rural. Where in the urban environment, niggas are retarded, gay, mean, and dirty. And then in the rural environment, not so much. Those are the only cultural differences. across different regions, geographically speaking. People might look a little different. They might eat slightly differently. They might sing a little differently. But those are all superfluous, nonsensical distinctions. It really just comes down to what's in the heart, and the culture of the city is heartless. Then, finally, made it as far out east as I was going to go. Made it to Constantinople. Fuck what you heard with your Istanbul looking ass. Went to the Hagia Sophia. Absolutely beautiful stuff. There are still crosses in the Hagia Sophia also. They tried to cover it up, but the truth shines through. Then I went to Athens, traveled across Greece, beautiful beaches. Got to my ferry, took it across the Mediterranean, got to Italy. Went to Rome, which was a dirty and dark city. Then I went to Pompeii. Interesting moment there. It's similar to like the moments I'll have at church where the communion comes out and I can see it dripping with blood. And then you have these people that are taking it for granted and they're just like chewing with their mouth open, There was something similar happening at Pompeii where it's like I could feel the ground shaking. And I could hear the screams of the damned as they were being buried under lava. And then you have these fucking, oh, honey, look at the statue. Get a picture of me with it. Like, that's not a statue. It's a cast of a human being who was buried alive under lava. Then I went to Florence, the most beautiful city in all of Italy, by far. Puts Rome to shame. I met the Brighton boys there, a couple of lads from England who I did not trade names with. Share some stories, talk to them. Turned out that they were tripping off truffles that they smuggled from Amsterdam. That was pretty sick. We started talking about symbolism, started talking about the sexual nature of reality and the dichotomy between the heavens and the earth. One of them took some offense to me drawing an analogy between the above and below as relating to the masculine and the feminine. And he's like, why can't we just say that the masculine and the feminine are side to side? It's like, well, you can say that too. In that case, the right would be the masculine and the left would be the feminine. It's just reality that any duality can be biparted between a masculine and feminine half. And when it comes to the above and the below, the paternal and the maternal, it's, masculine and feminine, respectively. And he said, I don't know, dude. I'm more of a reverse cowgirl kind of guy. Right after I had said like the more blunt symbology around like the sexual act and who is naturally on top. But different strokes for different folks. Then I met my guy Daniel in Venice, philosopher from Australia who was on a pilgrimage throughout Europe to see, all the spots that there are to see that have religious significance, like the Vatican in Rome. He visited Mount Athos after we met. There was this pretty potent moment where the whole room was just involved in the conversation, and everyone had something to bring to the table when it came to the question of like, what does the word God mean to you? And I was on the top bunk. Below me to my right was Daniel. To my left was Casper the atheist. Directly below me was a very simple man named Bob who didn't participate in the conversation at all, but he did go out and get pizza and then gave it up to everybody. So he was really just kind of living the truth while the rest of us were just talking about it. And it was a really interesting conversation about how can we reconcile the findings of science with the teachings of scripture. And then this bitch off to the far left decided to get involved in the conversation, derailed the whole thing, started reducing everything to politics essentially, and feminism and abortion. Dumb as hell, bruh. After that conversation, Daniel and I talked for another 2 days. Our conversation seemed to revolve around the idea of nothing and evil. My understanding was that God was non-dual, and so they were evil just as much as they were good. They were feminine just as much as they were masculine. They were nothing just as much as they were something. Daniel was arguing that evil is just the absence of good, etc., etc. So this is where I stand now. I was wrong. God is all good, but I wasn't totally wrong. God is so infinite as to include nothing. The kingdom of God is so vast as to account for the exception. And evil is not just the absence of good. Like, there's nothing just about it. It's evil. It is unjust. So it's just simply the fact that evil is nothing. That nothing is evil. And evil does not exist. Nothing isn't. While I changed my mind about that, I still stand by a lot of what I said. I am who I am. I and the Father are one. I am the Alpha and the Omega. And so is God. He was more, stressing on the Alpha. And the Alpha is what should be stressed. The Omega actually cannot be directly expressed. But you cannot have one without the other. Otherwise, you are limiting the infinite. And God is without limit. God is so limitless that, like, having a limitation isn't even, like, a problem. Then I went to Switzerland, went to Zermatt, went hiking, saw the Matterhorn, the Motherhorn. I went to the Young House, I went to the Young Institute. Then after Switzerland, I went to Spain, I went to Barcelona, linked back up with Ryan, what it do? And then I went back to Brussels, relinked with my boy Jonathan, where he asked me if, after making it all the way around Europe now, what is it that I really learned? Like, what have I changed my mind about? And what I told him is that I learned that I'm basically right about everything, that the everyman is a fucking untrustworthy retard, and that the only one that I should really put my trust in is God. Basically just that I just earned total confidence in myself. Like, I no longer feel any need to make a concession to people. I believe what I believe. What, you think I'm gonna, like, not believe what I believe? No. I've lived a life and I've come to conclusions. And, like, that's all there is to it. The people that the everyman has not lived, and they're all trying to tear me down and fucking bullshit me and, like, gaslight me into thinking that, like, I'm being prideful when I'm really just being confident. But the everyman is such a pathetic thing, it's such a self-loathing entity that, like, to see a being with actual self-esteem is unacceptable to them. And then, to finish the trip, went back to England, went to North England, and spent time with my family there, where I spoke with my grandmother for the last time. So, I guess as a closing note, I'll let you guys know that nothing lasts forever. Live every day like it's your last. And remember that it could be the last day for anybody else in your life. So make sure that you're making the most of what you have. Put yourself out there. Try new things. Talk to new people. Go see the world. Explore. The world is your oyster, dog. Go get that pearl. It's waiting for you. Stay safe and be well, y'all. Peace out.